Road to Worlds 2024, Lithuania. I'm Bobby Tan from Performotion, and joining us today as our guest speaker, we have Jessica Espinal. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Okay. Yeah, it's in the morning for you now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So recently, Jessica took part in the USA Nationals 2024, and she won the 47 kg weight class, and she essentially secured her tickets to Worlds from there. So how was I guess you didn't really have competition, right? So how's the
Mm-hmm.
meet itself overall?
I thought it was good. Normally, I go into nationals like a bit more like stressed, which like usually helps my performance because I'm able to make
Okay.
that you know, show out more. But like since my competitor dropped out, it was more like, okay, now I have to switch my focus kind of. Because the goal was always, to like win, to secure my spot, to PR my total.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now that it wasn't like necessarily going to be as hard, I still wanted those goals, but
Yeah.
I didn't have to like put everything out, I guess, to get them. Hmm.
Would you say that you would have rather put everything out instead of like saving it for Worlds? Or like
I think it
was
would have
maxing
been,
out the goal on the platform? Yeah.
well, our goals were like going 9 for 9, like getting my PR total, like
Yeah.
that, and getting my spot. But I think it would have been like good practice additionally to have a competitor, just because of like,
Right.
the pressure, the atmosphere is like a bit different because you
Yeah, like
feel.
going back to back, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Like
we
going
knew
head to
it
head.
was going to be back to back. So I was
Yeah.
expecting that and like hoping for that because in the past, I've also not had many competitors like leading into like a nationals or like things like that. So I was looking
Yeah.
forward to the competition. Like that's the whole reason why I switched. So
Okay.
it was a little like disappointing, but at the same time, like I can't be upset because I got my spot. So like we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. And
Hmm.
very deserving because you did PI your total
Hmm.
since last November, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was fall. And yeah, going back to nationals in 2022, it was, I guess, also not that different because you did end up winning most of your meets ever since you started powerlifting, right?
Hmm.
And how was nationals? How was Mega Nats for you in 2022?
Oh my God. Going way back. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think leading into that prep, I don't know, was I dealing with anything? I think the only thing I was maybe dealing with was like a pec strain, if I remember
All right.
correctly. But like it wasn't something that was limiting. It was just like kind of there and I could like work around it. Um and then just because there were so many other competitors in the 48s, um
Yeah, 48. Yeah.
I think we had like 5 or 6 girls that probably could have podiumed or like done really well or like all that, right? Um, I was like really nervous. I remember going into it because I was like, okay, like I'm forecasted at the top, right? But like it
Yeah.
wasn't a big like
Margin. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, okay, any one of these girls can have like an amazing day and I could maybe like not feel my best. Um and also like I weighed in super light that competition too. Like I think it was like 45.8 or something or something. I don't know. So that's why I was also concerned because I'm like, fuck, I'm like super sorry, I don't know if
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
I was like I don't know if I can you know execute while I'm so light. It was just
Yeah.
like a whole thing. So I was a little bit more intimidated because there was so much like anybody
Like
could come in
factor,
from
right?
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I had to be on my game. And then luckily for us, like it ended up turning out well. We still won, like
Yeah.
all that. So it was good.
Yeah. It was good. And fast forward to that, you did made the move to change from USAPL to IPF.
Hmm.
Why was that?
I wanted harder competition. I wanted people who were not as in like the USAPL
Yeah,
competitors,
yeah,
like,
yeah. I
because
know.
they
Yeah,
work insanely hard too.
yeah,
But I wanted it to be more of a fight. I wanted somebody to be better than me so I could push myself. Because just always being at the top, like, nobody really talks about it, but you find different ways to motivate yourself. If it's not through like competition, then you start looking at other weight classes and like how I mentioned
yeah,
earlier, like with me and Meg, like talking about
yeah,
IPF and like going back to back, like that's how you find other ways to compete with people. But you still always want that competition within your weight class too.
yeah.
So
Because
it's
like
like
I guess
really-
it's different when it's direct head-to-head competition compared to like across different weight classes.
yeah, because
Yeah,
across different weight classes, like the earlier
the
the
lighter
meet,
the weight classes, the earlier
the
you
later
compete.
weight class, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So then the other weight classes have an advantage, and then you're like, but
yeah,
like being there at the same time, same flight, same whatever, like
yeah,
it's just different. Yeah, so I was really looking forward to that. And like during that time, like TIFF came out of nowhere basically.
yeah.
And I was like, dang, like I gotta go over because at this point,
I found my
one,
match.
yeah, I was like, one, I gotta prove that I'm the best in the US because like, Heather has all the records and like, she's dominated for years.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
then like Tiff came out of like I don't know, thin air, I don't know. And then just like completely took everything over and I'm like, I gotta go. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess that fast forward to Nationals 2023, and you had your first fight with Heather, which
Mhm.
is considered to be like the mainstay of the 47s in the US. And how did the fight go?
It was good. It was not like good, but like there was a lot of pressure. Like you could feel it. It was different. Like I don't know.
Also,
Looking back at it, I think we were both dealing with our own injuries, or like she was dealing with like something like more health related, and mine was like a strain or like a quad
yeah,
issue. So like that prep, I had to switch my technique, and it was like really different. So we were both dealing with our own things. Um, so going into it, it was just kind of like a toss up of who would be better on the day.
who was like the less broken
Who was less
person?
broken? Yeah,
Yeah,
basically, because like there's only such a limited amount of things you can do if you're not
yeah.
fully healthy. Yeah.
And I guess being at such a high level, would you say like being healthy is like at the top of your list, or would you say like training hard and like getting like your externals on top of that? Like, what would you say like you prioritize more?
I think I prioritize my health and my external variables a lot more than
Yeah,
like other people do. I keep everything in check. Like almost year round, 24/7. Like it's basically ingrained into my routine. So now I don't even have to think about it. Um
yeah,
but things can, get hard. I can have hard times like in school where I'm very stressed or like at work. Like especially right now, I'm like dealing with so many due dates, so many things. I like have not been sleeping like that much, but I
ah
value
shit,
my sleep. Yeah, I value my sleep because then you're ready and
you
prepared for
perform
like
well. Yeah,
training and
yeah,
right? It all like connects in some
yeah.
way. So despite that though, I've been doing okay. Like I've still been pushing really hard in training, um, which is good. I haven't seen like a super severe like drop down, which is
Setback.
great. I think
Yeah.
it's also because like I'm on a bulk. So
Okay, that's
that
good.
definitely
Both
helps.
sounding good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And after your first match with Heather, both of you guys qualified for Malta.
Hmm.
And here comes like the French as well, because I guess it was your first rematch with Heather
Hmm.
and your first fight against the person you really wanted to fight. Tiffany, right? And how was Worlds for you? Were you less broken compared to like Nats?
I was less broken, but I was way more scared. I'm gonna be honest, like, heading into my first international competition
Yeah, because Worlds was your first international as well.
against like two of the best in history. like you cannot just go into that and like, because I was forecasted like second place still anyway, but even then, like, I didn't have all the achievements that they did. So I kind of felt like less than, even though I knew I was like strong still. But it was very nerve-wracking just because I knew like they have way more international experience. Yeah, or they've just been in it longer, or not necessarily Tiff, but like she, has the experience of like
of
having competition and all that. So I came in, I was like super nervous, to be honest. On the day, I literally think I cried like probably after every lift. Like it was like it was, I don't know. I was just like super emotional because like also I was so proud of myself for like getting to Worlds. But at the same time, I was like, do I even deserve to be here? Like, but then I was like, but this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, like for most people. So I was like,
it's not once for you. You're coming back.
Yeah, but like, you think about all these things and like everything that has led up to it. And then I'm like, dang, like I was like, I don't know what I was doing, but my mind was just like not in it because I was so nervous and like thinking about all these other things. And I mean, I still ended up doing well, because
you
like
did great.
We follow game plans and, I just trust that my coaches and handlers will pick the best thing. But despite that, like my mind was like not on lock that day. But like we were still able to execute. So I don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. You take the wins. And it's your first Worlds. Like you even podium on your first Worlds. That's great.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't like it didn't affect me that much because then I'm like, well, I podiumed. So I deserve to be here for sure.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And like for the first time, you actually had like direct competition, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, this is what I came for. Like I should be like almost shitting my pants.
Is that something like you consistently feel at meets or
when you slowly No.
No, like okay, not literally, but like just thinking about going up against someone as strong as like your competitors are. Is it something that you
I would
sort
say,
of get used to?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of something that motivates me because that's what was motivating me for this prep, like into PA Nats. I was super excited, but also like really nervous. But I was using that to like motivate me more because I'm like, I should be feeling nervous. Like the last time I felt like those types of like nerves. Like the adrenaline every time I thought about a competition was probably Mega Nats because same thing. It was like super like
close.
Close. Yeah, there was like a bunch of people. Yeah, exactly. So then with this one, I'm like, okay, pressure's like just as on as it was previously. Just that at Worlds, I just wasn't like thinking about that. I was thinking about myself, which is like
that's great. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, but this time I was like, dang, I haven't felt that like adrenaline rush with training in so long. So I was like really like taking advantage of that. Yeah.
That's great. And speaking of adrenaline rushes or like the lack thereof, right? We fast forward to this year's nationals and you won. But how did you feel like how do you feel during your prep before Heather pulled out actually?
So it was weird because what was I dealing with? Oh, so for some reason my squats like they can be inconsistent sometimes in training, which is it just comes down to like bar path and the way that I like move. It's really dumb, but I hate it. I hate all the technique involving squat. Like it's so annoying to deal with because then some days I like don't even know why I do the things that I do. But anyway, like then we like fixed it, and then it was like, okay, I'm also not having the best health this year because like I told myself 2024 will be the year I get everything in check. Because before then I only had like my external variables in check,
Yeah.
and I like put off like my personal health, like, you know, doctor's visits and things like that. So I'm like, this year I'm gonna do that. And I did. And, you know, it was a blessing and a curse because, you know, good that I'm getting better, but bad because it had like crazy impact on my body weight. Like I was low. I think my lowest in prep was 44.8, 2 weeks out. And I'm like, bro, I'm not gaining that weight back. Like I can't do that. And then Jason had texted me. He's like, you have to, or no, what did he say? He said, you better not weigh in under 45.9. And I think I weighed exactly 45.9. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so anyway, overall, prep was like kind of iffy because I had like this weird squat thing, but I fixed it. I ended up fixing it. And then like my health was just like kind of bad, and I was like learning to navigate it now that like I had the tools to do so, and I was dealing with a bunch of things that I didn't even know I had. But yeah, and looking like at Heather while all this is going on, I was like, damn, like she's having a really good prep. Like her deadlifts look so strong, her squats are
Yeah.
strong, like, everything was looking like, you know, on a good
On the
trend.
A
So
game, yeah.
yeah. So I was like, damn, like I can't let my health, my personal circumstances, like come in between that, because at the end of the day, like our goals are the same. Like we both want to win. We both want that
Yeah.
spot. So I'm like, I just have to like continue pushing harder, even if I feel like ass, even if my belt don't fit today. Like, oh well, like we gotta put in a couple muffins, couple brownies, drink some water, and then you're good to go. Like, yeah, yeah.
Then, right about a week out, we see Heather make the announcement that she had pneumonia, and she pulled out of Nationals 2024. And following that post, I guess, how did that make you feel?
I actually saw it while I was on my plane to Reno. Like I had just gotten off like to get my layover into Reno, and I remember seeing it, and I felt like initially disappointed because I'm like, dang, I was really looking forward to our rematch again, because this would have been the third time we were going against each other, and
Yeah.
under better circumstances because she is healthy. So I was like looking at that, and I'm like, damn, like it would have been a really nice competition to like be able to push each other like as much as we could, and to maybe like do a test run for worlds, you know, like
Yeah.
because you never know, you don't get many opportunities to like push
Hit
super
to hit.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at first I was disappointed, but then like I also understand, like obviously pneumonia, like
It's
you
pretty
you don't
serious.
want to compete with that. Yeah,
It can be
yeah.
pretty serious.
It's not something that should be taken lightly.
Yeah.
So I understood, but then I texted Jason. Oh my god, I texted Jason, and I'm like, can we go all out? Can we just like put RP10s on the platform? and then he's all like, no. And then I was like, okay, so what can we do? Do you want to go like super conservative and like barely do the QT or something? Or I don't remember, like, but I was just like throwing out like jokes and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what we should do. And then he's all like, okay, well, now that like our main competition is not there, let's focus on obviously our original goals, which I had stated earlier, but you're also still in the running for best lifter. So you can't forget
Yeah.
about that. You still have to be on your A game because you could probably win if you tried. And I'm like, damn, okay. So
You sound disappointed.
well, well, yes and no. Yes, because like again, I don't get many opportunities to push hard, especially like with our style and our plans and everything that we make for meet day, like we never aim to like,
go up in.
empty the tank. No, never.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, maybe we can now. But then, but then he's all like, if you miss this, like, then your total will be lower or like whatever. And then I'm like, oh yeah, you're right.
Off best lifter.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of the day, like I just agree, and like I also really. I believe in the same things that they do with like Jason and my training style and like everything. So like I trust them, and I'm like, okay, like let's do it. Or like if there's ever any like discrepancies like between what we're talking about, I'm always like, okay, we can maybe compromise. Let's talk about it. Let's see why we feel this way. Let's try to come to a middle agreement, or like maybe just forget about it, do a different plan overall. Like we just work really well. So I just trust whatever decision they want to make, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, let's go for it.
There was no sandbagging, there was no empty the tank. So the middle ground was to push for best lifter. Can that be said?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you do?
I got second by 0.2.
First was Megan Scanlon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not the first time that happened, right?
I know. After Texas, because in Texas, I was like, damn, like I want to win that. And then, what is it? What happened? Oh, on my third bench, for some reason, I like misgrooved it. And then, I don't know why. It's just dumb. Good. And then on my second deadlift, I like bobbled at the top. So then I was like, okay, let's take our third conservative, because I scared myself, because that never happens to me. But it was just feeling super fast that day. So like I couldn't control that top portion. Yeah. So I was like, let's go conservative. But if we would have literally went 2.5 more, which was our original plan, like I would have gotten it. Same thing with PA Nats, like literally same thing. Like, because deadlift, we went a little lower than what we were planning to do. And literally same thing. Like with those extra 2.5, if I would have pulled 185, like I would have won it. And I'm like, oh, not the same thing again. Like, I mean, with all respect to Meg, like she's strong. She's proved it many, many times. As a mom, like that's crazy. Yeah. But I still wanted to win it. Come on, like, like give you a chance.
Yeah. You'll have a chance in.
Both. But I have my chance.
Yeah.
But then also like versus like so many other people too.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
And like just to think about doing all this, like aiming for the best in the US, you're still doing all of this as a junior. It's not even like your last junior year, right?
I think it is. You age out at 23, right? Like when
the
age. Yeah. I turned 23 in November.
Oh, okay. And yeah, you're still a junior. So that's pretty impressive. And obviously this isn't something that's it's not normal for sure. Like not a lot of people can achieve what you guys do. Like Tiffany is a junior as well.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Johansson, he's also a junior. And I guess why not tell us more about your like starting point in powerlifting and how did you get to where you are?
Long story short, I started in high school powerlifting in Texas. I started equipped. I just kind of got thrown into equipment and they're like, okay, go lift. Actually, the first time I joined the team, like I didn't like our first practice. So I'm like, I'm never coming back. And then I got convinced to, so I did. And, I ended up liking it. So I'm like, okay, like this is probably something I could do. And then tell me why the first competition comes around. And then my coach is all like, yeah, you'll sit this one out. I'm like, what? What? Yeah. I was actually pressed. Like I was so upset because
that was such a big move.
Yeah. And there's another girl that joined like at the same time that I did. but she was like in a weight class that had more competition overall. And I'm like, well, wouldn't you put me there when I'm literally weighing like 88 pounds? Like I'm like the lowest weight class. Like, why not? Right? Like there's nobody in there. I probably would have
Yeah.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was actually like pretty upset. But I still went to spectate because I wanted to see like how it
It was
ran.
like,
Yeah, like the atmosphere and all that. And I was like, okay. And then like, I competed all that year. I think I got like third at regionals that year, I think. And then I started, what was it, like my junior year of high school, I think. I don't know, like 2018-ish. So it's
yeah.
been a while. And same thing, just equipped during my whole high school career. When I went into college, I went raw. And then that's where my collegiate career started. I had to do a bunch of changes because initially I went in with the intention of still competing equipped in collegiates. But then a spot ended up becoming available for the raw 40 or the raw 52. At the time I was a 52.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just did that instead. And then over time I just got stronger and stronger, and body weight got lighter and lighter as I ate better in college and stopped eating like fast food. um so yeah, then I dropped down to 48, made my switch, all that. So
Yeah.
it's been a while. It's been 2018, like 5 years,
6 years. Yeah.
6 years. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, it's been a while.
And I guess it's a huge transition for you because not only are you aging up to juniors, you not only do you like, I guess, cut down a weight class, but you also did change like from equipped to raw. So
Mhm.
it's a huge transition, both in all like weight class, age class, and like even like the form in which you're competing in. And how's the transition?
I would say it's been difficult, to be honest, like if I'm looking back at it overall, because in equipment, like my technique and everything was so different than it is now. Like back then I squatted wide, like, in wraps, in
Yeah.
equipment, all that stuff. Like my hand position was super wide on squats. Like I was super extended. You can compare it to who's a lifter that kind of does that? Like maybe Nori style of squatting. That's how I squatted equipped. Um, but then like when I went raw, I still kind of maintained the same like width at first. Um, but then over time, what is it? I continued to get injuries. Like I had adductor issues for a while, like in 2020 and 2021. Like one of them would mess up and then the other one would mess up and then both of them would mess up, and then it was
Oh
just
my
like
god.
it was just a cycle. Yeah, when one of them got better, the other one was worse, and then it was just, yeah, it sucked. And then I had my pec strain. I didn't have like anything like super severe. It's all been like strains, which is great.
Strains
It's
are
all
pretty severe, man. Depending on the grade, of course.
well, as long as it's not like tearing a muscle, then I'm
Yeah. Grade 3 strains are the worst.
yeah. So, that's different. And then
Yeah.
once I finally got my quad strain 2 weeks out from PA Nats 2023,
23? Yeah.
yeah, 2 weeks out of that, I was like, oh shit, like we have to change our whole technique because I was still kind of squatting wide at that point. So we went more narrow, and that just ended up working better. But now I'm like, I fold a lot, so I look like a lawn chair. Like, have you seen Evie Corrigan squats?
Yeah.
Like, I look like that. I feel like I look like that when I squat. So it's very different from like being a wide stance squatter to like
Yeah. Where you just
here.
go up and down really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And same with bench. Like back in high school, I didn't have any type of technique, any type of arch. In a bench shirt, like it's different, I guess.
Yeah.
But the bench shirt, you can kind of maybe compare it to like my bench now. because back then, like, I didn't have any type of technique, so I would just like go straight up and down. Yeah, and then,
Is that your bench now still? Just up and down?
yeah, I guess. But yeah, so that from high school, I went into USAPL, and then like we made whole bench changes. You know, I got the big arch. I had like the 1 inch ROM. Like I
Yeah.
touched differently, like at my
Before
ribs. Like,
the rules were implemented, right?
yeah. And then yeah, I became a cheater. And then I switched to PA, and then that was a whole nother learning process because, you know, I had to like, you know, do elbow
Bench
depth
press.
and like, adjust my arch because normally like, my back is very flexible just because like as a kid and like I've always been really active, but so it's just natural and it feels comfortable for me to arch that much. But because of the rule, like I couldn't, so now I had to force myself to like lessen it, and it was hard to because I was so used to it being
Your normal
comfortable in
technique.
that position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then at some time, like when I would try to like extend it a little, like it would cause a little bit of back pain, but like that wasn't like super like a big deal because I ended up fixing other things to help it. And then deadlift has always been sumo. I've always cheated on that, so that's fine. um, but technique has gotten like crazy better, and it's different too. Because in high school, I used to do like a more of a frog stance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like, you know, super wide, like
Actual sumo. Yeah.
actual sumo. Yeah. Mhm.
I guess, yeah, that's a lot of changes, man. And
Yeah, I know.
yeah, so now with your new technique, and I guess it's being reformed, right? You're going back to Worlds for the second time. Would you say that there's gonna be a difference between the first time in Malta and now the second time in Lithuania?
Oh, for sure. I think
Because
so.
earlier you said like you're afraid to be in Malta, right? Like you're shitting your pants to quit or something.
That's how I felt. Yeah, because like
Yeah.
it was just so different, you know, like also navigating like all the travel accommodations, hotel accommodations, like just everything overall, you
Was it
know,
very
getting ready
overwhelming?
for yeah, it was very overwhelming for me. You know, just completely being in a different country. Like I don't know, it was just I have traveled outside of the States before, but never like alone. So
Oh,
that's probably why. Yeah. Um and what is it? This year though, like now I have experienced more times than just like going out to compete internationally. Like I've gone out I went to Mexico over Christmas break, which was pretty nice. And then after Worlds last year, I went around to like Turkey and Jordan and Israel and Egypt. So it's like now I have my experience like just traveling in general.
yeah.
So now I feel more confident in that and like secure in like my itinerary. I've already built like my whole itinerary, like
Oh my
all
God.
the days I'm gonna
That's
be there.
great.
I'm super like I like to be organized.
That's great.
So
That's great. Yeah.
yeah, so now like I have all that down, that's out of the way. I'm not going into it scared because now I'm like, okay, like I've proved myself before, like I've proved myself right now at PA Nats, like I have the potential to be here and maybe even win. So like we're going for it like hard. That so I feel like more confident this time. I don't
That's good.
feel like I'm shitting my pants.
And like you definitely feel like you belong there, right?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
now I'm like, secure in that.
yeah.
Mhm.
So of course coming into Lithuania, are your expectations to win Worlds?
Yeah, yep, we are
Oh,
going
that's
for
pretty straightforward. Yeah.
that.
You
Yep,
want to win. Yeah.
and if
And
we can, that best lifter against Meg. Yeah, just kidding.
wow,
No, but definitely, it's
there's so
definitely.
many strong people to like fight against.
Yeah, I
What a best
know.
lifter.
I
Yeah.
know. There's
Yeah.
a ton. Yeah, but definitely our first goal is to win. Just my weight class in general.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you feel prepared, more prepared than Malta?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've been doing, despite having such a hard time with like my health and like right now with stress in school and like my variables like not being the best, I'm still really working hard and doing my best when I can, um, to like show up, to work hard, to do everything possible to set me up to win. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now that we talk about like your itinerary for Worlds, right? Have you planned
Hmm.
out your accommodation and like flight tickets and stuff?
Yes, I have my flights. I travel 4 days. Like I get there 4 days out.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice. Um, but I think hotel stuff hasn't come out yet. So I don't know about that one. But I do have my flights. So
No.
that
Okay.
that's all good. Yeah.
And I guess, are you staying after?
Um, kind of. So
Okay.
I'm staying like the day after I compete, just in case there's like interviews or like to leave space to um
R&R?
yeah, just hang
Yeah.
out and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then like after that I'm going to Denmark and then Iceland
Oh,
and
wow.
I think Finland too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking advantage.
Wow.
I've always wanted to go and we're so close, so
Yeah.
why not,
It's like
right?
all in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then yeah, and then I'll be back in Lithuania, I think the 21st.
After Worlds, right? That should have been when
Afterwards.
Worlds. Yeah.
Or World ends maybe the 21st or maybe the 22nd. I don't
Are
know.
you going for the
Some,
banquets?
some, no, I think the banquet's the 23rd. But by then
Right.
I'll be already like back to the US.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I stayed last year, but I think this year just with like, work and like financial stuff. Like, I just did not want to spend that much because I'm already spending a lot on my other trips too. So I'm like, let me go back home and work. Yeah,
Adulting's tough.
I know, right?
Yeah. And speaking of adulting, I guess post Worlds, right? What plans do you have for the future? Like what the future holds?
Well, if everything goes as planned and we end up winning, I'm really looking forward to Sheffield in 2025. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be so fun. And then
Amazing. And you're gonna be back in Europe.
I know I'm gonna be. That's why I didn't want to travel to the UK because I'm like I'm gonna go there one day anyway, so it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and then also like World Games, like
Yeah, in China.
yeah, if for World Games, like I don't know, if I don't end up qualifying raw, girl, I'm about to switch back into equipment.
Are you saying it right here? You're making the announcement.
But I mentioned it to Jason, but I don't know if he's on board. But,
Okay.
but
All
it's
right.
it's a
So
maybe, it's a maybe. But our goal is definitely first like raw.
yeah.
And if something happens, like I could probably sneak into that equipment spot.
All right, you
But
guys hear it. You guys heard it here first. Like if she doesn't qualify through Raw, she'll just go to equipped again.
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I gotta get to World Games. I gotta travel to China. I gotta see that Great
Yeah.
Wall. Like I gotta eat all their good food.
And
Yeah,
it's not Europe this time, it's Asia.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
completely different continent. Completely different like lifestyles. Like I don't know. I just love learning all the new
Cultures.
traditions and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like you have a lot of plans already for the future,
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be
including
fun. And
travel.
yeah. But I guess we'll see after that too. I have no idea what would come after that. I mean, I guess again Worlds and probably Sheffield. I don't know. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
maybe a comeback soon in equipment. I keep
All
talking
right.
about it because I've told Jason about it, but we have no idea.
How did he take it? How do you
Um,
take it?
he said, "I'll refer you to one of my clients who competes equipped," and I was like, "What?" Like, so
So that guy will coach you?
are you firing yourself? Like, I'm just kidding. But I'm sure, like, when we get there, he told me like everything comes at its own time. So right
Yeah.
now, definitely our first priority is like win
Winning
things,
world.
win worlds,
Yeah.
go to
Sheffield.
Sheffield, win that, or try to like place as best as possible. And then like once we get that solid ground of like, winning all that all our first achievements, then we can look into different avenues.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that I win so I can hop back into equipment later. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would rather stay raw, but I do want to be like the dual power lifter.
Like Cal Backlund?
Yeah, and like Agata, because I talked to her about it too. And she was like, I want to see you in equipment. So I got her too. Yeah. Maybe one day. Who knows when, but hopefully.
Yeah. We never know what the future holds for us.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
before we end this episode, is there anything like you'd like to share with us? Anything
Yeah.
else?
Yes, I would like to share. Don't underestimate your warm-ups. And to always build a routine with your warm-ups, because even on days you feel like ass, like you'll show up and it'll just be on autopilot if you have a routine. And you'll show up and do really good things. Like that was me yesterday. I showed up on 2 hours of sleep and like maybe 200 calories.
Yeah, you did like good, huh? You got a dog in you.
Yeah, and then no pre. I don't know. I can't even think of like other excuses that people make. Oh, no pre, no steps, no walking, no. I don't know, no food.
Guys, don't do that. If you want the training to go well, just.
I'm just kidding, guys. But like, prioritize your recovery. Make a warm-up routine that is on autopilot every time you go into the gym. It helps so much, especially on those days that like you don't want to be there or you feel really bad. That was me yesterday again, and I ended up having a pretty great session despite that. And yeah, if you have certain things in warm-ups that work for you and don't work for other people, like that's also completely okay.
Yeah.
I warm up for my squats in heels, and then I switch to flats for my top set. And
Is that the reason why?
yeah.
Go for
Yes. But it works for me. So if it doesn't work for other people, but you could try it if you have a issue with like bar path or midfoot pressure on squats. That's why I did it, because I overthought that and I would either like fall too far back or fall too far forward. So now with that, I like get the advantage of like warming up in heels and like getting that forward knee position, all that. But like still, because I don't have the heels on my top set, I'm able to shift into my hips and like get into my position that I like to squat, because I kind of squat like in a curve. Like my bar path is not straight up. So, I mean, it works for me. I don't know if it'll work for y'all, but like you could try it if you have
Did
issues
you do
with
that
that.
at Worlds, by the way?
Did I? I think
that has to be like the best way to throw off your opponents, man. Like you just warm up in heels and then like before you go out for your opener, like let me just, or even better, like you squat in heels for your first and second attempt, and then you change to flats for your third.
I'm gonna do that now. No, just
All
kidding.
right.
I'm just kidding. No, I think last Worlds, I think I took my heels just in case. But for some reason, I didn't feel the need to use them, I think, if I remember properly. Like, I didn't have to. But since then, like, whenever I notice that my squat feels off or feels weird or something like that, it's usually due to my midfoot and not warming up in my heels.
Yeah.
So then I just do that and then it, like, fixes itself.
No, that's great.
So,
yeah, and you
so
don't
that's
even
what I
need to
did.
like think about it, right?
Yeah,
You just
exactly. It's just to not think about it, and it's just to make the position and the midfoot pressure feel normal, so
Yeah.
you don't have to like actively like be like, oh, are my toes gripping the floor, like things like that. Yeah, so I actually did that at PA Nats this year. I did take my heels and I warmed up in them, and then up until like my last warm up or last two warm ups, I like take one warm up that's like kind of heavy at like with my heels, and then I take it
You drop
again
back down?
without my heels.
Right.
Huh?
Okay. So like
Yeah,
you take the same weight with
yeah,
your
yeah. I
flat.
take the same weight
Got it.
at like maybe 85%,
Something percent? Yeah.
80,
Yeah.
85%.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I do
Yeah.
that. And then I mean it works. I take that like that one twice because then it's like a test run for the top set.
Yeah.
Because then I'm already in heels. So then if I like have any mismoves or anything or any foot pressure issues from switching like immediately, it'll get
You
on
can
that
fix
set
it.
and not my
Yeah.
top set.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that works for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thanks for sharing your story with us, man.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was weird to figure out because at one point like we went into heels. I tried heels for like a month straight, and like I would just fall too much into my toes. But then, like, before that, the reason why we went into heels is because I would fall
You're
too much
falling
into
back?
my heels.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I think I just needed a healthy medium.
Yeah.
It was weird. Yeah.
So basically just find what works for you, right?
Yes. And prioritize your recovery. Don't be like me. And don't go on 2 hours of sleep. Don't go on 200
Don't eat 200 calories before training.
Yeah, no. Y'all gotta have, like, more than 50% of your daily calories in you before you go train. Unless you train in the morning, then I don't know, you're a different dog because I cannot train in the morning. Yeah, I can. But
Good thing prime time's at night. In the evening, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So
Must be nice to be strong.
I know. I love being strong.
Yeah, who doesn't, man?
Because then I can prove to others and be like, look at my muscles, and then they're like non-existent. But then I show them my videos, and then they're like, "What? You can bench 2 times body weight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can't you tell?" Like, I'm just kidding.
And most importantly, you don't have to compete in the morning.
Exactly. I don't gotta wake up early. Yeah, no. I would rather compete at like midnight than like 8 a.m.
Midnight. Okay.
I train pretty late.
Right.
To be honest. So like it's normal for me.
I guess that's it. And thanks for sharing with us your story, man. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and all the best for your prep for Worlds. I'm looking forward to seeing you like get what you want.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we have a really good shot this year. It'll be a good battle for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, that concludes the episode of Perf Podcasts, Athlete Things Road to Worlds 2024, Lithuania. Thank you, guys.